4. Panic is the worst enemy. She cannot be killed. Peering into the darkness. First. What I did. Calmed down. Anything could have happened. No water, good. Alive, great. The exit could have opened anywhere. On a mountain or slope. In a hole or a swamp. In the cave. Exactly. Cave. This kind of darkness is usually found in caves. Fierce darkness. Impenetrable. Turning on the headlights gave results. I'm in a cave. The main disadvantage. There is a failure ahead. I'm a lucky guy. The chandelier on the roof shines well. And snatches a vertical rock from the darkness at a distance of 50 meters. I'll release the brake. And I will set off into the unknown. What awaits below? Stones or water? Of little interest. The result will still be the same. Continuing to hold the brake. I put the gear into reverse. The reversing light showed a rock-strewn incline. Turning on the rear LED light illuminated the area even more. I am really in a cave. Going somewhere upwards. The width is no more than 4 meters. The height is about 3 meters. The walls taper slightly towards the ceiling. The rise is serious. And rocky. But Toyota should be able to handle it. I don't want to be left without a car. Having enabled all locks. Which exist. I moved off smoothly. Toyota is having a hard time. But she went. Waddling over large stones. Crawled backwards up the hill. It's too early to breathe a sigh of relief. The degree of rise may change. And it will be simply impossible to overcome it. After 100 meters of ascent, the cave widened significantly. I'm tired of driving backwards around the biggest boulders. Pressing closer to one of the walls. I turned the Toyota around in 3 tries. She rode much more confidently in front. The degree of rise began to decrease slightly. Ahead. Where the light becomes barely visible. Sometimes movement is noticeable. Something small is jumping between the stones. And does not want to show himself. Some rats. Super strong. Carnivores. All gnawing rats. My imagination is running wild. I hope I don't jinx it. To be sure, I took the AK-15 lying on the seat. And put it on his knees. After another 300 meters the cave became completely flat. Only the height has decreased. And Toyota miraculously doesn't catch the rare protrusions with the contents of the roof rack. If the height decreases further. Then there will be 2 options. Or go on foot. Or make a pickup truck out of a Toyota. Terrible. A chilling roar came from the unknown darkness. And made me feel horrified. My hand automatically fell on the machine gun. Clicked the fuse. And pulled the shutter. I understand. That I'm trembling with fear. What kind of creatures can live in caves? It was worth studying the fauna encyclopedia from cover to cover. In hindsight, everyone is smart. Second roar. From which? Seems. The Toyota's windows shook. Rang out a minute later. Animals. Running ahead between the stones. They dumped somewhere. Judging by the increase in the volume of the roar. Creature. Possessing it. Is moving in my direction. And this creature is very big. Only now I realized. That he believed in the existence of the other world. The portal has been passed. There is no doubt about it. I'm in some huge cave. And a creature with an incredibly powerful voice moves towards them. Try not to believe it. They say. That food helps you calm down. Taking out a chocolate bar from his unloading bag. I didn't understand. That ate it. I had to eat a second one. This didn't help calm me down. The growling sound was repeated again. And this time louder. Decided to stop. And wait. To be sure, I took out 3 F1 grenades and placed them on the passenger seat. Throwing grenades in a cave is idiotic. The Toyota will be cut into pieces by shrapnel. But what can you do? I don't want to be eaten. Thinking. What to do. And peering into the darkness. I remembered. What Mara. And Kirill installed a different signal in my Toyota instead of the standard one. Sophisticated. Pneumatic horn. With a power slightly inferior to that of a steam locomotive. It was decided to buzz. Powerful is an understatement. The walls of the cave amplified the sound. And my head instantly started to hurt. The growling no longer seemed loud. Maybe. The beast coming towards me will be afraid of the mechanical. And a loudly screaming monster. Still, the compressor pushes out more air. The cave monster's lungs are not capable of this. I continued driving. Occasionally honking. The cave monster responds with a growl. But does not retreat. It seems. That we will meet soon. The roar sounded quite close. Several tens of meters. And the headlights snatched 3 bright yellow glowing eyes with vertical pupils from the darkness. It's clear. That's why they glow. That the light from the headlights reflects. But there are 3 of them. 3. I honked the horn. And the beast growled in response. After playing roll call. Drove another 50 meters. And saw the outlines. About 1.5 meters high. No less. The width is the same. The head is flat. Like a crocodile. The mouth is wider and possible. Not so elongated. 2 eyes are set on the sides. The third one is almost in the forehead. The body is massive. With 4 legs. And there is nothing to compare it with. Something between a crocodile and Wolverine. Only many times more. And heavier than all of them combined. Little by little I moved forward. The miracle monster did the same. I stopped. And he stopped. I hummed, he growled. Gradually we found ourselves almost next to each other. I'm on the right side of the cave. Monster on the left. Looking at me with 3 eyes. And showing a huge number of teeth. Strewn across the large jaw. He had teeth like a shark. All the free space in the mouth is filled with them. If desired, it will grind like me. So. And my Toyota. He'll just get tired of chewing tires. When the distance was reduced to the point of impossibility. The miracle monster suddenly jumped. I could well use some new pants. But everything worked out. And it didn't come to the use of weapons. The monster didn't jump on me. And on the wall. 4 suction cups easily stuck to the stones. And the monster continued its journey deeper into the cave along the wall. Or not deeper into the cave. Maybe I'm going deeper, and he's in a hurry to get out. Let's figure it out. Having made sure that the danger has passed, I decided to use an encyclopedia of local fauna. The creature scene was found on the front pages in the non-dangerous animals section. Yeah. Harmless. Who wrote this? He simply had never met this monster. Cave eater, that's the stupid name they gave to such a scary monster. Carnivorous. Feeds on earthworms. Stone. Because they live in rocks. To get stone worms, the cave eater has to gnaw on stones. Even stone worms cannot gnaw stones quickly. Not a cave eater. This is turning into some kind of joke. And not a description of such a terrible beast. When meeting people and other animals, the cave eater begins to growl. Roars loudly. And creepy. With the aim of scaring off. Never attacked people. There have been cases of people attacking cave eaters. But there is no precisely confirmed information. Certainly. Not available. He ate them all. Nothing else. Following the cave eater in the section of non-dangerous animals is the hydrocarbon worm. It looks like a worm. It's just too gray. And the picture is somehow not real. Or something. As if painted. It's definitely not a photograph. After reading the description, I understand that I will probably never see the photograph. The hydrocarbon worm has this name for a reason. Which consists of hydrocarbons. And because it eats them. I only managed to encounter this worm a few times. He doesn't care about people. He simply doesn't notice them. It crawls along slowly. Grinding the rock. Searches for hydrocarbons. Or more precisely, oil. The worm is not very long. 300 meters at the moment of stretching. The diameter is also so-so. 3 to 5 meters. The hose is a bit short. Honestly. The hydrocarbon worm rarely crawls to the surface. It's not clear why. It will crawl out. And crawl away. Leaving behind a huge cave. The problem is that. What? Seems like. I am in one of these caves. The only thing missing was a hydrocarbon worm. Toyota surf slow. But confidently crawls through the cave. Most often there are climbs. Not too serious. But still sensitive. Sometimes the cave becomes straight. And as if artificial. Minor descents are very rare. One thing is clear. The cave leads to the surface. The shock of meeting the cave eater has passed. Hydrocarbon worm. Glory to you, Lord. Managed to avoid. I finally convinced myself that I am in another world. And there is no doubt. In the other. After all, our world is a resort compared to this. No oil worms. And creepy looking miners. Specializing in gnawing through stones. And this. Guided by an encyclopedia of local fauna. Just the tip of the iceberg. The berries will be on the surface. Although there are berries. And there is enough underground. Animals. Which not long ago flickered on the edge of the headlights. Appeared again. With the help of a monocular, I was able to spot one. Round. Like a soccer ball. And the same size. Not a single eye. No paws. No other limbs were noticed. One wool. Brown. And long. The encyclopedia says nothing about this type of living creature. Means. Didn't have time to study it. It makes me happy. That they do not attack. I didn't kill one to satisfy my interests. Animals may only be killed in case of danger or need for food. There is no danger. There's food in abundance. Let others satisfy their interests. This world has treated me loyally. Means. I will respond in kind. Asterisk. Almost 2 hours have passed. There were 2 particularly tricky climbs that were difficult. storming at full speed, which he was afraid of tearing the tires on the hard stones. Everything turned out all right. The section with a low arch was also passed. One of the fuel canisters, sticking up above everything else, creaked loudly on the stones. That also worked out. Millimeter. The cave looks like it was made for Toyota. A few more kilometers were left behind. And I noticed some light ahead. Turning off the headlights. And a chandelier on the roof. I was finally convinced that there is a light source a few hundred meters ahead. There. At the limit of human vision. The darkness dissipates. What could it be? Is it really the surface? Turning on the headlights. And continued to drive carefully. Over time, I made out a fire burning near the wall of the cave. A little later, a massive figure sitting by the fire came into view. And also something vaguely resembling a bed. Made from branches. And herbs. Besides all this, something resembling a backpack was visible next to the figure. Bowler hat. And a spear. Leaning against the wall of the cave. Squeezing the machine gun. And being ready for anything. I stopped the car a couple of dozen meters from the fire. Figure. Who seemed human to me. Having thrown over himself a huge skin of either a bear. Or another animal. I stood up reluctantly. Such a huge creature. 2.5 meters tall. With powerful hairy legs. And strong. No less hairy. And powerful. With hands. Or with paws. The head turned. And 2 green ones looked at me. Almost human. Eyes. But the creature is not a human. The creature is a bear. Or more precisely, a bear man. I saw exactly the same representative of the bear people in one of the photographs, which Vasily showed me during our first meeting. The staring contest lasted almost a minute. The creature raised its hand and pointed at the car. Made an incomprehensible gesture. I shook my head. The beerman put a clawed paw to his muzzle. And showed that the headlights blind him. I immediately turned off the chandelier. And headlights. Leaving only the fog lights on. Because they don't blind. The beerman nodded in satisfaction. And waved his hand. Inviting to go out. After thinking about it. Decided to agree. Still, there is no smell of aggression. Quite a friendly creature. As it seems to me. I got out of the car. Grabbing a pistol for confidence. The fire is made of even, split logs. Near. On a small pile of still smoldering coals. There is a real earthly teapot. The cauldron with a lid is also of terrestrial origin. Or people gave them as gifts. Or found. Or took away. There is a possibility of exchange. Beerman. Apparently. Tired of enduring my tired, intent gaze. Hit himself in the chest. And growled. Ugh. More likely. This is the name. What a lucky guy the first am. The first hours in the new world. And I am already in contact with an almost intelligent being. Or completely reasonable. Let's figure it out. I also hit myself in the chest with my left. With your free hand. And introduced himself. Nikita. Akita. Said the bear man Ugric. Hello. Human. I nodded, and you? Ugric. Bear man. This. Akita. Incorrect. Answered Ugric. To call a human a bear. Do people call you bear men? I asked. The speech was quite understandable. The problem is created by the growling pronunciation. Ugric made a gesture with his paw. Looked at the ceiling of the cave. And took a deep breath. In an instant becoming even wider. And above. Which made me feel like a bug. Growl. Scary. And evil. Rolled through the cave. Making me tremble. And squeeze the gun harder. Ugric growled for about 10 seconds. Until there is no more air in the lungs. After that he slouched again. And started coughing. Having cleared his throat. Said. Is that better? Much. I was taken aback, almost dropping the pistol. Human speech is difficult. Said Ugric. The ligaments hurt. You need to plant your voice. To speak. How are you? I haven't seen people for a long time. And such. Like me, a hermit. Much is forgotten. I was stunned. Almost sane. Almost. Your mother. Reasonable. Yes, this is a giant. Seems like. Will be wiser than a person. His ligaments hurt. The voice needs to be planted. I haven't seen people for a long time. He speaks our language just as well as I do. A migrant? Asked Ugric. Pointing his paw at Toyota. I continue to be in a state of trance. Nodded. Our world is good. Ugric said meaningfully. Only dangerous for you. People. But. And you. People. No better. Murderers. I looked questioningly at the intelligent bear. What is he getting at? Not you. Nikita. You are not a murderer. I feel. You're afraid of me. But you don't want to kill. Fear of the unknown. This is normal for such people. How are you? Other people are bad. There are many of them. They kill for fun. I understand. What is the bear talking about? The bear speaks. Bite me where it hurts. If I'm sleeping. Yes. Ugric. I said with difficulty, there are bad people. But there are good ones. Is it different for you? At our place. Ugric was surprised. We are not going to kill. He cleared his throat. We don't kill for fun. For security purposes only. If people attack, then they will be dead. Or we are dead. Nature gives us food. You don't eat meat. I was surprised. Teeth. Which Ugric demonstrates. They say the opposite. Omnivores. Answered Ugric. We need the flesh of living beings. To be strong. It's easier to take meat from a predator than to mine it yourself. Why do you need a spear? I asked. Defense. Answered Ugric. Defense. Means. With such claws. And you can do it with your teeth. And it's not bad to defend yourself without a spear. Nikita. Are you from home? Ugric asked unexpectedly. I nodded. He is under the house. More likely. Implies my home world. Although. Who knows? Do you have any canned beef? Eat. I answered, surprised by the question. You mean stewed meat? Yes. Ugric began to shake his huge head. Yes, yes. About her. It's in jars. Eat. I nodded again. Will you give me one? He didn't ask. And Ugric prayed. As much as possible with his appearance. I nodded. I have a lot of stewed meat. A whole box. If you give one away, then it won't decrease. After getting into the car, I barely made it to the stew. And pulled out 2 cans. Not forgetting to turn off the engine at the same time. Returning. Handed both cans to the intelligent bear. Growling contentedly. He grabbed the stew. One can immediately went into the mouth. Powerful chewing movements. And the sound of crumpling tin. In a few seconds the stew was chewed. And eaten. The second can then repeated the fate of the first. I didn't know what to say. Just stood there with my mouth open. And looked at the bear. He, as if embarrassed, asked. What? I have a can opener. I answered, you could have opened it with a knife. With a file. At worst. Is this what you mean? Ugric was surprised. Wiping his mouth with a clawed paw. Everything is fine. Iron is well absorbed. And it tastes better with it. More useful. This finished me off. Noticing a small block of wood. I sat on it. This needs to be thought about. And brew some coffee. It's not every day you get to experience something like this. Asterisk. I sat for about 5 minutes. Sat. Looked at the fire. And thought. The intelligent hermit bear. Living in a huge cave. What is he doing here? He makes contact cheerfully. You ask questions, he answers. Why not chat? And not learn something new about this world from the bear? It's worth a try. I stood up. And went to the car for a mug. And a can of instant coffee. Ugric asked. Do you want to drink? Not exactly drinking. I answered, this. More likely. For pleasure. Coffee. Have you heard anything about him? Saw. Heard. Sniffed. Drank. Ugric said quickly. I didn't like it. Harmful. For consciousness. And it is harmful to the body. It is better to drink decoctions. He pointed to the kettle. Will you try? You won't poison me? I asked. Healthy. Ugric answered affirmatively. Well. Once it's useful. Then I'll try your decoction. I agreed, but I still went to get a mug. Ugric took the teapot with his clawed paw. And filled my aluminum mug halfway with some dark green viscous liquid. Having sniffed. I found the infusion to have a pleasant smell. A minty sweet scent with a hint of something tart. But there is very little of this tart flavor. However, I'm not good at making decoctions. You can't have too much. Ugric clarified. There will be intoxication. You will become cheerful. A little is possible. You'll cheer up a little. Forces will appear. Lightness. And the head will think well. I'll find out now. I said and took a sip of the cloudy green liquid. It tasted a bit sweet. Essentially, it's just regular tea made from wild herbs. Is it true? Thick. It's a pleasure to drink. Having drained the mug. Understood. What else do I want? I asked. Are you sure you can't do more? I liked your decoction. Ugric. It is forbidden. The bear repeated. Quick addiction. You'll fall asleep. You will fall asleep for a long time. If you can't, then you can't. I agreed and pulled a chocolate bar out of my pocket. Offered to the bear. But he shook his head. Well. And okay. I'll get more. When the bar was eaten. There was a problem with packaging disposal. Ugric pointed to the fire. And said. Burn it. Fire will take it away. There is no need to litter. You. People. Dirty creatures. There. Where are you? A lot of garbage. Wrong. Bad. I felt a pleasant lightness spreading throughout the body. Minor headache, which I tried not to pay attention to. Evaporated. Ready to run. And jump. Ready to run towards adventure. The decoction is good. You can't argue with that. Burn the trash. Ugric demanded. I obediently threw the candy bar wrapper into the fire. She quickly cringed. And burned down. That's better. Ugric nodded. What do you have in your pot? I asked. The brew aroused a lot of curiosity. Too many. Food. The bear answered. Want. Is it possible? Ugric growled briefly. And answered. We are almost the same. Too similar inside. We can eat one food. Then let's do it. I agreed and rushed to the car for a plate. Once in the Toyota showroom, I decided to take a camp chair with me. Anything is better than on a block of wood. Ugric, touching the pot, shook his head and put it on the fire. After first rustling the logs with his claws. Dexterity with which he did this. One can only envy. The logs lay like this. That the pot stood on them. Like on a tile. The bear is not so simple. I'm warming it up. He clarified. We can talk. Let's. I agreed and asked one of the prepared questions. Ugh. You are a hermit. Right. Why? Lonely. The bear answered in a bass voice. No family. Everyone died. I felt uneasy. Well. And asked a question. Don't be embarrassed. Said Ugric. Everything is fine. It was a long time ago. My family. And the tribe was killed by people. My jaw dropped. He asked cautiously. Such. How am I? Other. Answered Ugric. Bad people. From your house. They killed for fun. Many of them were exterminated. Like me. And you? I asked quietly, how did you survive? I didn't know. Nikita. Wasn't at home. Was in another tribe. When I returned. There is nothing left of my tribe. People killed everyone. Heads. And the paws were cut off. Pain. I was in a lot of pain. That's why you became a hermit. Ugh. No. The bear answered menacingly. First I found all the people. And killed them. Then I found my tribe. And set them free. Consigned to fire. Afterwards he became a hermit. This is the law. I didn't save. I didn't find it. What to answer? Man is cruel. Spawn. Sent into this world. Very cruel. Killing for fun is a normal thing for people. I can imagine. What Ugric did with those who killed his tribe. And with those who had body parts of his tribe. Serves him right. I say this with confidence. Serves him right. And how do you live after this? I asked, how do you feel about people? Are you talking about hatred? Ugric answered with a question. She's not here. All. Who is to blame? Paid for it. There are bad people. But there are good ones. I'm not that blind. So as not to see such obvious things. You are good. Kind. Thank you. Ugric. I smiled. The food has warmed up. The bear took the pot off the fire. And took my plate. Filling it from the pot. Handed it to me. Eat. Nikita. I sniffed the contents. Smells delicious. Lots of spices. But. And there is a certain meaty aroma. Besides the broth. There were pieces of something that looked like vegetables in the soup. Not that meat. Or that. And another at the same time. Not enough light. To take a closer look at everything. After eating one spoonful of stew. Found it delicious. The pieces are meat. And something. Reminiscent of the taste of earthly potatoes. But harder. The only thing. What is missing? These are salts. The problem was solved by going to the car. Seeing a bottle of pills. Filled with salt. Ugric shook his head in displeasure. And said. Harmful. I didn't argue. Salt is harmful. But this is exactly the moment. When there is simply no way to do it without causing harm to the body. Yes. And the harm is not that great. A bottle of vodka will do more harm. Finished eating. I asked for more. Ugric filled the plate without further ado. He is a kind bear. Good. Having finished eating. I thanked him for the treat. And decided to ask the next question. Ugh. Your world. Is he dangerous? Everything is new to me. Tell. How to behave. Dangerous. The bear answered. Dash. And the most dangerous thing in our world is man. He pointed at my gun. Which has long since migrated to a holster on the belt. Weapon. A man kills from a distance. Kills just like that. And the predators. I was surprised, sometimes you have to defend yourself. Am I a predator? Asked Ugric. The predator does not always attack first. And if it attacks, then he protects his home. Here you come to my house. He pointed with his paw at the space of the cave. But I didn't kill you. But he could have killed. I am kind. If evil people come to your house, you won't kill. Predators have a home too. Place. Where does he live? And the predator must eat. Some people eat a lot. And constantly. Only man kills for fun. I understand you. Ugric. Means. Your world is dangerous. It is also dangerous. How? And my dear. Then I asked about the exit from the cave. And found out that he will be in 2 kilometers. Ugric also told that I was lucky enough to end up in one of the sparsely populated areas of his world. I didn't ask any more questions. The overwhelming melancholy got in the way. It seems that the effect of the miracle potion has finally worn off. A heavy melancholy came. Homesickness. Having given the intelligent bear 3 more cans of stew. And thus making him happy. I decided to continue on my way. Asterisk. The cave ended. I expected that I will see a ray of light. But he wasn't there. Everything turned out to be simpler. Night. It was worth checking with the intelligent bear about the time of day. I wish I knew. Spend the night in his company. Anything is safer. Well, I'll have to go at night. Without knowing where and why. I'll figure it out as I go. Lucky that the cave begins at the foot of the mountain range. Going somewhere into the heights. Heavy clouds. And the darkness does not allow one to see where the mountain peaks are hidden. From the foot of the mountains begins a mighty forest of giant trees. The trunks of which are at least 4 to 5 meters in diameter. The straight trunks end in fluffy crowns at a height of about 100 meters. The forest seems like a toy. Big. But a toy. This doesn't happen. At least. On the ground. Toyota made its way down to the forest over the rocks with difficulty. I had to sweat a lot. Once. Driving over a gentle boulder. Almost flipped the car on its side. Gradually the stones gave way to loose, pliable soil. After driving about 500 meters. I reached the first trees. I wish I could take off now. And look. How far does the forest extend? Judging by the size of the trees. The forest occupies a gigantic area. Stopping at the trunk of a mighty giant tree. Turned off the engine. Turned off the headlights. Picked up a machine gun. And went outside. Silence. No birds singing. No rustling of animals. No other sounds. It's creepy. The boots press shallowly into the soft soil. Turning on the flashlight. I understand that everything around is strewn with compacted pine needles. The trees are distant relatives of the terrestrial cedar. Sequoias or pines. More likely. First. The bark looks painfully similar. The pine needles are solid. Slightly longer than the palm of the hand. Having driven along them. Toyota has left a noticeable mark. No matter how hard you try, you can't disguise yourself. Strange. But there are no other plants in the forest. Except for giant cedars. Even moss does not grow on strong roots. Is it the pine needles? Compacted. And slowly rotting. It spreads out like a continuous blanket. Without giving it to the plants. And undergrowth chances. Interesting. How old is this forest? You can't grow like that in a couple of hundred. In 1 or 2,000 years, I believe it. Going deeper into the forest. Understood. That the tree crowns create such density. That almost no light penetrates through them. It's hard to say. Is there a moon in this world? There. At the foot of the mountains. She wasn't there. Maybe. The clouds are to blame for everything. Or maybe. It simply doesn't exist. The fuel tank needle hasn't moved yet. And that makes me happy. Fuel reserve and accordingly. Move. Toyota Surf is decent. I can definitely cover a couple of 1,000 kilometers on the diesel fuel I have. No matter how big the forest is. But it will end someday. At first I drove no more than 20 kilometers per hour. Fearing to encounter some dangerous representative of the local fauna. An hour later I became a little bolder. And increased the speed to 30 kilometers per hour. Driving along the pine forest is a pleasure. The car is floating. The only downside. Fuel consumption is an order of magnitude higher than on hard surfaces. But at least there are no bumps. No holes. Maybe. They get caught. But the suspension. And the pine pillow smooths everything out. Strange. That there is no forest wildlife. At least I met some squirrel. Or a raccoon. Locals. Certainly. Large ones. And evil. After driving for a couple more hours. And without seeing the dawn. Stopped for a rest. Get out of the car. And did not start a fire. There's no way to have fires in this forest. Throw away the match. And the fire will be terrible. Maine. so that nothing starts to smolder from the exhaust system. Then I'll have a high-speed safari. Having opened one of the dry rations. And having a little snack. Continued on his way. It can be felt that it will take a long time to get there. A very long time. Asterisk. Dawn came gradually. At a certain point I understood that I see much further. What do the headlights shine with? Opening the window. And sticking his head out. Understood. What's there? Above the tree crowns. It's already morning. How? And expected. The needles do not let light through. More precisely. Skips. But not all. After about 30 minutes, there was no longer any need for lighting devices. At the same time, the forest came to life. And not just came to life. It's boiling. Rodents. There are countless numbers of them. In some places the pine pillow simply vibrates from their number. Animals similar to Jungarian hamsters. Only larger in size. About the size of a cat. Squeak. And they rush about. So. And trying to get hit by a Toyota. Who knows? Maybe. And accidentally ran over someone. There's nothing that can be done about it now. The second type of forest inhabitants are also rodents. These look like terrestrial squirrels. Only larger in size. And more color options. Black. White. Brown. Gray. And also black and gray. White and brown. Gray-white. And so on. There are no fewer colorful squirrels than hamsters. But they don't get under the wheels. Or they sit on tree roots. Or fight among themselves. Or they demonstrate the ability to climb vertical tree trunks so deftly that any cat would envy. By the way, about cats. The beast was encountered twice. Reminiscent of a terrestrial jaguar. Only of a strange color. Some kind of purple. With glitter. Beautiful. And graceful. Not very tall. A little over a meter. And long. 4 meters. No less. The tail is long. And thick. Similar colors. Typical feline. Restless. The second time this animal was encountered was about an hour later. But. Seems. It was already a different beast. Not purple with glitter. And lavender colors. But also with glitter. He didn't allow anyone to come close to him. The distance decreased to 200 meters. And the cat took off. In a few leaps she reached the tree. And disappeared. Driving closer. I, without getting out of the car, tried to find traces. But they weren't there. It camouflages itself well with this coloring. Professionally. We met. And some piglets. A herd of about 30 individuals. Pigs look like pigs. Vietnamese. Pot-bellied. Seeing the car. The herd ran off squealing. If you want, you can make shashlik. What a pity. Seasonings. And didn't grab any coal. I was driving. And drove. And the forest. And was not going to end. Only once did we come across a clearing. Big. And round. About 300 meters in diameter. No less. Overgrown with tall. Waist-deep. Tough. And sharp. Like sedge. Grass. Having made a short foray out of the cozy Toyota salon. And cut my finger on the grass. Decided not to tempt fate. And continue on your way. That's it. Elegant colors. The cat probably knows how to kill no less gracefully. I don't want to give her that opportunity. I'll be going. I'll come somewhere. A handsome deer appeared in the distance. He slowly emerged from behind a huge tree. And stopped. I stopped in turn. No more than 100 meters separate us. That it is a deer. There is no doubt. Yes. Not earthly. Other. But still a deer. High. About 3 meters. If measured at the withers. Thin, slender legs. The huge horns glow a soft pink. Interesting. What processes create luminescence? The copper-colored skin is decorated with golden ones. Oval round-shaped spots. The beast can be called beautiful. My conscience won't allow me to hunt something like that. No. Our planet cannot boast of such beauty. This world. Another world. More elegant than ours. In all its manifestations. The deer stood. And I looked at him. I decided to look into the fauna encyclopedia. And found this representative of the local fauna in the herbivorous animals section. It is called the copper deer. Or spotted gold. Some people call it a rosehorn. The animal is considered conditionally dangerous. Responds to aggression with aggression. Strong. Capable of flipping a medium-sized SUV with its horns. The weight of an adult starts from 800 kilograms, hornless females. And ends at the mark of 1.5 tons, older males. Horns. Having luminescence. After the death of an animal, they lose it within a few days. Deer have antlers for life. Shed antlers. Like our earthly deer. Representatives of this species do not know how. Sometimes they break. It's true. Horns take a long time to grow. Throughout the deer's life. Considering that he lives on average for quite 50 years. Out of curiosity, I also found a mention in the encyclopedia of that same purple shiny cat. They call her the lavender panther. Because lavender is the most popular color. It is also called purple. But less often. There are black ones. But rarely. Too rare. Black. How? And the rest. They also shine. Predatory. Which is not surprising. I have never met any herbivorous cats. Although I once met a vegan cat. But he was not put on plant food by his own will. It's just that his vegan owner is a complete moron. The vegan cat tried to eat meat at every opportunity. He considered flies to be meat. Spiders. And other insects. Alas. But there was no other meat in the apartment. Got distracted. I'll return to the purple panther. Predatory. And dangerous. Runs fast. Camouflaged well. Regardless of color. And climbs trees very well. Treats people loyally. Attacks. Only if you enter her territory. And even then, only if there are kittens. A typical earthly cat. He'll tear anyone apart for kittens. The panther is slightly larger in size than the terrestrial Amur tiger. A little higher. A little longer. And more slender. Weighs from 250 to 350 kilograms. Large cat. You can't say anything. The largest feline on earth is the Amur tiger. This one will be more. And it is not the largest of cats. Which can be found in this world. The Flora Encyclopedia gave a detailed description of the place. In which I am located. These trees are called larches. Because they have the peculiarity of shedding their needles once a year. No other name was invented. After all, it was people who gave the names. Earthly people. And that means a lot. Forest. Where I am. They call him dead. Dead. Because at night he dies. Meeting an animal at night in a dead forest is the height of luck. The most important. And this is certain. It's relatively safe in the dead forest at night. Relatively. Because it is not only the local flora that poses a danger to humans. And fauna. But. And the same. Like him. Human. Asterisk. Almost 12 hours had passed since dawn. Interesting. Is the length of a day in this world the same or different from the usual ones on Earth? I'll find out later. Quite hungry. Decided to stop. And have a snack. Or have a full lunch. Stopping. And opening the window. Heard sounds. Reminiscent of shooting. Firing in bursts. I decided to check. It took almost half an hour to find the source of the sound. They shoot rarely. In the end. After driving 3 or 4 kilometers. I came across a tent camp set up in the forest. Next to which stands a dark blue Land Rover Defender. So serious. Prepared for off-road conditions. And at the same time completely new. The roof rack is loaded to the brim. Here. And the first people. I didn't think so. That I will see my brothers in mine so soon. 2 tents. Green. And orange. Stand next to each other. A place for a fire has been cleared not far from the tents. Between the fire. And there is a camping table set up next to the tents. And chairs around it. There are 4 chairs. Apparently. Hearing or seeing me. The camp's 4 residents huddled together. And began to wave vigorously. A man in his 40s in forest camouflage. A plump woman, also about 40 years old. Dressed in a white tracksuit. A guy of about 20 in camouflage pants. And a white t-shirt with a German G36 rifle in his hands. And a very pretty red-haired girl in short white shorts. And a pink t-shirt. Here. And the whole company. I stopped next to the Defender. Turned off the engine. And went out. I didn't take the machine gun. Enough with the gun in the holster. The company does not appear aggressive. Judging by their faces, they definitely aren't ours. Foreigners. Or maybe the Germans. Or the British. Maybe. And Americans. Right away. And you can't tell. Hello. The man in the suit exclaimed in English and took a step. Extended his hand to me. I speak English. I won't tell. Which is good. But it's quite normal. To talk to foreigners without much difficulty. Hello. I answered in English. Russian tourist. The man was surprised. I'm Michael. This is George. Punishment. And Kaylee. We are tourists too. I don't think I agreed with that. What a tourist. Oh well. Essentially, that's it. And there is. Although. More accurately, it would be a migrant. Michael. Apparently. Head of the family. Punishment. Plump aunt. His wife. George. More likely. Son. Because it is very similar. And here is Kaylee. Maybe. George's girlfriend. She certainly doesn't look English. The family is approaching. But she doesn't. More likely. Irish. It's too red. And a little freckled. I had an Irish girlfriend a long time ago. We met in Syria. I was involved in humanitarian aid. Oh. And the Fire Maiden. Fire in every sense. What a pity. Their car was blown up by some bad guys as they were leaving the combat zone. Afterwards we left nothing of these guys. Tourist. I answered, Russian. New here? George asked. I nodded. It's beautiful here. Kara smiled. Nice nature. Are you from England? I suggested. Yes, yes. Michael nodded. We are from England. About 50 meters away. At the tree trunk. One of the local fauna rustled in the needles. That. Which looks like a Jungarian hamster. Only larger in size. George. Turning sharply. Found the source of the sound. And poured it out heartily from an assault rifle. I managed to open my mouth. And reduce the sound power. But still there was a little ringing in my ears. George. Michael barked. Stop shooting. Yes, yes. Frowning. I agreed, stop shooting at the poor hamsters. These are not toys. George. Swearing incomprehensibly. And looked angrily at his father. Decided to leave us. And went to have a look. Did you manage to kill anyone? Failed. Even I understand it. Shot higher. All the bullets went into the tree trunk. What is your name? Kaylee asked with visible interest. I'm lucky with Irish women. I wouldn't mind getting to know her better. Nick. I introduced myself with a smile. Nick is short for Nicholas. Kara was surprised. Short for Nikita. I said. I was invited to the table. And poured tea. Didn't refuse. I wanted to treat tourists with my own supplies. But they refused. Pork steaks were also offered. It would have been a sin to refuse. Husband Michael. And his wife Kara. And also. Maybe. Their future daughter-in-law. Looked at that. How I eat. Without risking asking questions. I decided to ask the question. How long have you been here? For a long time. Michael answered. 3 days already. What day is it here? I decided to clarify. The length of the day is almost the same as ours. But a little longer. The head of the family answered. We haven't figured it out yet. We'll find out. When we get back home. Will you come back home? I was surprised. Well, yes. Michael nodded. We're here for a week. First time. Either I'm a fool. Either. It's turning out to be an interesting movie. There are two options. First. I was deceived. And there is a possibility to return back. Second. Deceived the British. I'll find out now. Michael. I started to say, didn't they tell you? That there is no way back. Who sent you here? And how did you know about the existence of this world? Michael. And Kara smiled. Kaylee answered. There is a way out. Nick. We will open the portal ourselves. Yeah. I answered with a degree of skepticism. Who told you that? My brother. Michael began to tell. Constantly moves into this world. To rest. Advised. And me too. We have a common business. Lonely brother. He has no family. I didn't believe it before. But one day I decided to agree. As you can see. We are here. The people who sent us here gave us a device. With the help of which we can return back. Don't scare me. Nick. I haven't planned to for ages. I said in Russian, already understanding the situation. It wasn't me who was deceived. They were deceived. What? Michael was surprised. I didn't mean to scare you. I switched to English again. Michael. Can you show me the device? Certainly. He cried out and jumped up from his seat. Rushed to the car. He returned a minute later with some kind of black device in his hands. All the inscriptions are in Chinese. Either in Japanese. More likely. First. This device opens a portal. Said Michael. And handed me a box. No larger than a loaf of bread. Just don't press anything. You need to follow the instructions. I didn't intend to. I answered and took the box. Understand. That this is a prop. It doesn't take much intelligence. Light box. And somehow untidy. Only terribly naive people could fall for something like this. And Michael's brother is quite the scoundrel. Got rid of my brother. And from his heir. He took over the entire business for himself. And without bloodshed. Missing in action. Will you open the portal? I asked, returning the box to Michael. Or won't you open it? Try. The English. And the Irishwoman looked at me with apprehension. George is back. I saw the faces of my relatives. And girlfriends. I asked. Did something happen? Nothing. Michael reassured his son. And pulled out a folded piece of paper from his pocket. Unfolding it. Looked at me like I was an idiot. Although. In essence. You're an idiot yourself. Empty. I chuckled. Michael nodded. After sitting for a few seconds, he swung and put the box on his knee. She, naturally, collapsed, thereby confirming, which is a sham. Just an empty plastic box with a lot of switches and buttons on the outside. What happened next was expected. The family realized the scale of the problem, in which it turned out, and started running and scream. In a short period of time they managed to quarrel several times, and even almost came to blows. Michael was found guilty of everything. Then they put the chain of events together, and understood that the main culprit is a certain Albert, emphasis on the A. Michael's brother. Then the head of the family decided to leave. Where and why is not yet clear. Next decision, which Kara accepted, made it clear to Kaylee that in this situation she is an extra mouth to feed, and generally a burden. Marvelous. But Michael and George Carew supported. Kaylee, standing with tears in my eyes, looked at me with a pleading look. And what about me? Nothing. I'm just lucky with Irish women. Within half an hour the English family was hurriedly getting ready. Having loaded all the belongings into the Defender, they left in that direction, from which I just recently arrived. Well done, Englishman. At least the Irish girl will survive. She clearly has a better chance with me than with them. The English will die. I'm 100% sure. Stop whining, I said demandingly. You should be happy and not shed tears. Kaylee instantly fell silent and blinked her big green eyes. This is much better. Looking around, I found the site of the recent camp quite inhabited. A 2-meter square has been cleared of compacted pine needles, and in its center a fire is burning. 2 aluminum slingshots, and the English took the crossbar with them. Nothing. I have my own. It will get dark soon, and you can safely set up camp. Cook something to eat. Boil some tea. Listen to music. Are you in a hurry to go somewhere? I asked Kaylee. She shook her head. I smiled. And I'm in no hurry. Means we'll stay here until the morning, and at dawn we will continue our journey. I'll just say this right away. I have only one tent. Or we sleep in it together, or you spend the night in the car. Ponola. Kaylee nodded. Have you lost your power of speech? Or the shock hasn't worn off? Let's figure it out. The first thing I did was look for firewood. Turns out, this is quite a difficult task. While driving through the forest, I have seen massive branches many times, fallen off from huge trunks. I have never seen fallen or dried trees. Strange. Kaylee, afraid to be left alone, volunteered to go looking for firewood with me. We wandered around the forest for about 30 minutes, and almost got lost. But they came across their own tracks, and almost returned to the car. Seeing Toyota, I stopped, and thought. Kaylee, apparently emboldened, she asked, are we looking for something? Yes. I nodded. We're looking for firewood. And the Hardmans had firewood with them. Kaylee whispered carefully. I'll also carry firewood with me. I muttered, let's go to the car. I'll think of something now. The problem of feeding the fire was solved with the help of bark. Having cut down one of the trees with an axe, threw the bark into the fire, and understood that it burns perfectly. It's a bit smoky, and with the smell of resin. But this can't be changed. They're coniferous trees, after all. They have resin everywhere. In that place where I cut off the bark, resin began to collect. After some time, this resin hardened and became like yellowish glass. Interesting. Earthly. He can't do that. Need to take note. It will work just fine instead of epoxy. It took an hour to set up a temporary camp. Most of the time I spent moving things from the car to the street, and back to the car. Following. What did you do? Cooked dinner. Pasta and potato soup with stewed meat. And a pot of freshly brewed tea with condensed milk. A box of cartridges served as a table. The privilege of sitting on the camp chair was given to Kaylee. I had to sit on whatever I could. Having tasted the stew, found it quite successful. Food in the forest always turns out delicious, which can't be said about the food prepared in the apartment. Looking sternly at Kaylee, I said, eat. The girl carefully took the plate of soup and an aluminum spoon, sniffing discreetly, started eating. After a few minutes the plate was empty. Did you like it? I asked with a smile. The girl nodded vigorously and gestured for more. It seems that she is afraid of me. Exactly. I said, this is not like chewing English offal. Russian soldier's soup. Kaylee ate the extra with less enthusiasm. She also liked the tea with condensed milk. How old are you? I asked, tired of remaining silent. 21. Kaylee answered quietly. I'm 34. A bit old. Not old. Kaylee smiled. Are you a Russian soldier? Was. I responded dryly. Now he is no longer a soldier. Not a soldier for several years. You are a soldier. The Irishwoman confidently delivered her verdict. Let it be your way. I agreed. Are we going to die? Kaylee asked unexpectedly sharply. And began to tremble. Why? I was surprised. I'm not going to die. Yes. And I won't give it to you. Everything will be fine. My words calmed the girl down. Having decided that it's time to end the gatherings around the fire, pointed to the tent, and said, it's time to sleep. Where will you sleep? In the tent with me or in the car? In the tent. Kaylee was confused. Or in the car? I'm afraid. Are you afraid to sleep alone or afraid to sleep with me? I clarified. 1. I'm afraid with you. Scary. I laughed quietly. You don't have to be afraid of me. Not a rapist. I won't offend you. Do you want to sleep with me? Sleep. I have 2 blankets. Even 3. More precisely. The nights here are not cold. So we won't freeze. All in all. Choose for yourself. We went to sleep in a tent. As it should be. I focused on security first. Even if it is written in the encyclopedia that it is safe in the dead forest at night, then you shouldn't flatter yourself. The emergence of aggressive bipeds has not been cancelled. People. They are cunning, after all. Having set up several stretch marks, the installation of which took more than half an hour, I came to the tent and went to bed next to Kaylee, who was already asleep. The girl fell asleep in the fetal position, wrapped in a blanket with his head. After lying with my eyes open for almost an hour and thinking about the new world, I didn't notice, as I fell asleep, woke up in Kaylee's arms. Apparently. Still, I'm frozen. And automatically pressed herself against something warmer. More precisely. To someone. Unlike her. I went to bed in my underwear. It's warmer this way. If anyone doesn't know. Carefully freeing himself from the Irishwoman's embrace. Got out of the tent. The forest is silent. And dark. The forest has not yet woken up. Me too. Vice versa. Cheerful. And fresh. Decided not to get dressed. And do some exercises. New world. Undoubtedly. Requires good physical fitness. Having collected the bark. Made a fire. And put the kettle on to warm up. And yesterday's soup. And then decided to remove the stretch marks. Kaylee woke up for breakfast. What a pity. That he can't speak Russian. I'm pretty tired of chatting in English. I'm not a pro, I'm an amateur. Having done all the work. We packed our belongings. Got into the car. And continued on their way. Interesting. When will this forest end? I'm already fed up with it. The journey lasted for about 3 hours in complete silence. And then we saw an interesting picture. A small boar. That very one. Similar to a Vietnamese pot-bellied pig. Weighing between 200 and 250 kilograms. Caught by a lavender panther. A herd of 30 to 40 piglets retreated to a safe distance to the side. And watchers. Grunting in unison. Little boar. Fluttering in the clutches of a lavender panther. Squeals throughout the entire area. What a beautiful cat. Kaylee admired. Brilliant. Yeah. I agreed, brilliant. And dangerous. I'll try something now. Maybe we'll get some meat. Anything is better than stewed meat. Turning on the transmission. I drove straight towards the lavender panther. And a screaming piglet in her paws. The cat did not release its prey. She unclenched her jaws. And hissed at the rapidly approaching enemy. Continuing to hold the piglet with his front paws. And press it to the ground. I pressed the horn. A powerful roar echoed through the forest. The piglets standing in the distance decided not to tempt fate. And get out of here. The lavender panther responded to the sound of the pneumatic horn with an angry mewl. She is not afraid. Kaylee almost shouted. Are you going to crush her? I shook my head. I definitely won't crush the cat. I'll just scare you. It's already noticeable that she is afraid. When there were about 50 meters left to the lavender panther, she decided to take action. Powerful jaws clamped down on the piglet's neck. Jerk. Then jump. And the cat found itself next to a powerful tree. Without releasing the prey. Strong. Jumps with almost equal weight to its own. One more jump. And the claws dug into the tree. With a squealing piglet in its teeth, the panther began to climb up the tree trunk. I stopped the car. And stuck his head out of the window. The panther covered about 10 meters quite briskly. And then she began to get tired. Bark. Torn apart by powerful claws. Fell down. Having crossed the 30-meter mark. The panther was finally tired. The piglet, which was already making almost no sound, was released. And collapsed to the ground next to a powerful tree trunk. Having lost the prey. The panther continued its climb with ease. 10 seconds later I could barely make her out in the tree crown. And then she disappeared completely. She's probably lying low. Nothing. Kitty. Be patient for about 20 minutes. And everything will be. Getting out of the car. I finished off the boar with a shot to the head from the Saiga 12. The heavy lead bullet did the job perfectly. I didn't regret it one bit. That he took civilian guns with him. I didn't butcher the boar thoroughly. Let the blood out. I waited about 10 minutes. And began cutting out the most appetizing parts. The skin turned out to be too strong. There is a possibility that the meat will be unfit for consumption. Smelly. To put it simply. The boar itself doesn't seem to smell. Still young. Having cut off a little of the neck part. And a piece from the back thigh. I put the meat in a small bucket. Having salted it thoroughly. It definitely won't go bad by the evening. Having driven away from the boar about 150 meters. Saw the return of the lavender panther. I was not mistaken. Means. I waited. Thank you. Kitty. I took just a little bit. You won't be able to eat such a carcass anyway. You were different. Kaylee said a few minutes later. As we continued driving. Not like that. Like the Hardmans. How is it different? I became interested. In everything. The Irishwoman answered. If the Hardmans were hunting Michael or George, then they would have killed the whole herd of pigs. And the cat too. For entertainment purposes. They even killed the local hamsters. Just out of curiosity. You don't like killing. You don't kill just like that. I got killed in my time. I muttered in Russian and added in English. I don't like killing just like that. This is bad. And the Hardmans. Nick. Will they survive? Kaylee asked sadly. Don't know. I shrugged. Unlikely. There is a chance. But small. If they're lucky, they'll survive. If you're unlucky, you know. Asterisk. The forest has finally ended. I have already. And didn't expect it. That someday I will see the light. The monotonous, repetitive ride among the same trees was simply boring. But here it is. The treasured exit. Or departure. That's more accurate. There is the end of the forest. Kaylee exclaimed joyfully. I see. I nodded that. That the forest ends. I saw it about 700 meters ago. Kaylee is unobservant. We drove out to a huge field. Moderately increasing. It gets lost somewhere on the horizon. Left. Too far. The mountains are visible. And this seems like those very mountains from which I began my journey. Apparently. I still got lost along the way. Well, how else? I have a compass. But he refuses to work. Why? I don't know yet. Maybe. Too much iron in the soil. Or maybe. The problem is somewhere else. Let's figure it out. Crap. So many unsolved problems have accumulated in just a couple of days. Which need to be sorted out. That I'm confused. It seems. That I won't understand them all. And you know. Where should we go? Asked Kaylee. Peering into the horizon. I shook my head. And stopped the car. No. Kaylee. Where to go? I don't know. But once we took the direction. We will stick to it. Maybe we'll get somewhere. We would like to find a river or a lake. Why? The Irishwoman was surprised. Then. That people usually settle near water. I answered, or non-humans. All sorts of bear people. And the like. If such exist. Kaylee. Apparently. Didn't understand. What I said. We got out of the car. The field is covered with a variety of grasses. Some are similar to those on Earth. And I haven't met any others. For example. Clover in this world is almost the same. How? And we have it too. The local Timothy grass strongly resembles the terrestrial one. St. John's wort is exactly the same. Sweet clover is rather large compared to the terrestrial one. And bees. Pollinating it. Are also a bit large. 1.5 times larger than on Earth. After walking around the field for a bit. Found flowers. Similar to earthly cornflowers. I came across a small plantation of Ivan tea of a delicate pink color. In the distance, massive thickets are visible. Going in stripes. The grass resembles a meadow fire. Tall. How? And it is found. Rattle. And mouse peas are exactly the same as earthly ones. The dandelion is a bit large. And with a slight blue tint. That's where my knowledge of herbs ended. And I moved on to insects. Zhukov. All sorts of bugs and small insects. Bedbugs. And there are tons of ants in the grass. Something slightly larger than Earth. And something. Vice versa. Smaller. The bees are larger. As I found out. There is an analog of the bumblebee. Also a bit large. And significantly overgrown with fluff. There are tons of butterflies. Grasshoppers are jumping. If you don't catch it, you won't see it. Birds fly. You can't just look at it that way either. We need to catch it. Snake. God bless. I haven't met him yet. Yes. And I don't want to. I don't like bastards. I saw a lizard in the grass. It's kind of yellowish. Fast. Larger than our Siberian one. About 30 centimeters in length. Hunchbacked little thing. Or did it seem so? No blood-sucking flying crawling reptiles have been spotted yet. Not in the field. Not in the forest. Although there were no insects at all in the forest. And there were no birds. That forest is strange. It's not for nothing that he is called dead. Kaylee listened to my story with admiration. All. What I saw. Voiced. The Irishwoman I got wasn't very smart. Even a little dumb. I was born in the city. And lived there all her life. I'm almost a villager. He grew up in an orphanage on the outskirts of the city. I've seen it all. Sometimes it's scary to remember. Taking a straight direction. Although who knows? We're right here. I drove about 100 kilometers. And decided to make a stop. The pork was fried in a frying pan over a mini stove. Powered by a gas cylinder. Meat. What's surprising? Not smelly at all. And low fat. Certainly. Yes. And a bit harsh. However. I'm not picky. Kaylee liked my sort of steaks. And thanks for that. Having eaten my fill. And having drunk some tea. We continued on our way. Light. No different from the Earth's sun. High at the zenith. Means. It's a long way to night. Asterisk. The field was getting lower. It was smooth. Then slowly increased. Occasionally, thickets of bushes were encountered. Which I don't understand well. There were also some large plots of land, several dozen hectares in size. Overgrown with unfamiliar heights. About 3 meters. Grass. I came across a tree. Not high. Dying. It looks like oak. But the shape of the leaves is different. I found large ones on one of the bushes. With an earthly plum. Berries. Smooth. Shaped like a cherry. Bright orange color. Curiosity is a serious thing. Having tried one of the berries. Found it delicious. Something between a tangerine. And sour cherries. Having already eaten the berry. I decided to check the encyclopedia. Edible or not. The berry is called a tangerine cherry. And not a berry. And fruit. Edible. In large quantities it causes drowsiness. A large number. More than a kilogram at a time. Having collected a couple of kilograms of tangerine cherries. We continued our trip. Kaylee liked the tangerine cherry. Having eaten a decent amount of berries. She fell asleep. Let him sleep. How long have I been in this world? 2 days. Result. Meeting with an intelligent bear. Acquaintance with some of the local fauna. Small get-togethers with the deceived Englishman. And an Irish girl. Became a companion. Which was left by those same Englishmen. Isn't it a bit much for such a short period of time? Apparently. No. Seeing a fast-moving truck on the horizon. Understood. That there will be another meeting. It's just not clear with whom. A truck is something with 4-wheel drive. With a large booth instead of a body. In which you can live well. It moves quite quickly. And perpendicular to the direction. Which I took. The speed is not less than 60 kilometers. Driving so fast across the field is a risky undertaking. You could lose at least the front axle. The presence of potholes has not been cancelled. I decided to move to intercept. Increased speed to 40 kilometers per hour. The suspension copes. Fear doesn't allow it anymore. After about 10 minutes, the truck began to slow down. When he stopped, 2 men ran out of it with weapons in their hands. And started shooting somewhere. In that direction. In which they were traveling. I stopped too. And climbed back for the SVT lying in the case. Baraya mounted a sniper scope on her. And set it up. The truck is about 500 meters away. No more. I'm not going to shoot. I'll just have a look. The 2 men are dressed in expensive camouflage suits or the Chinese equivalents. They shoot from something imported. You can't really see it. Some kind of assault rifles. One in bullpup layout. You can't really see their faces either. It's visible. That white. The grass in that place reaches waist high. Who are they shooting at? It's not clear. Having finished shooting. The men discussed something. Can it be that they still don't see me? One. Shorter in stature. Headed in that direction. Where the shooting took place. Strange. Very strange. Nothing is visible. Apparently. That. What was the shooting aimed at? Below the grass. Back in the car. I decided to move closer. He honked briefly. And thus revealed himself. Man. Remaining near the car. Started to fuss. And climbed onto the truck's cabin. Second. Who managed to move away about 100 meters. Stopped. and raised the rifle to his shoulder. That climbed onto the roof of the truck. Took out binoculars. And started watching. After about 10 seconds he put the binoculars away. And removed a certain object from the unloading. Which turned out to be a walkie-talkie. Partner. Apparently. Received the information. Lowered the rifle. Shook his head. And continued on his way to the unknown object. Which was fired upon. I didn't drive up close to the truck. Stopped about 40 meters away. Grabbing the machine gun. I went to meet someone. The man came out to meet them. Broad in the shoulders. And tall. Will be taller than me. He looks about 40 years old. European. Judging by his face. The equipment is expensive. CRYE Precision Company. Multicam colors. Armed with an Austrian Steyr August A3 rifle. That very one. Bullpup layout. Salut. Said the man. And raised his hand in greeting. Hello. I answered. We stopped at a distance of 2 meters. And began to study each other. By truck. By the way. It turned out to be a Czech Tatra. Old one. And reworked. Well reworked. The house on wheels turned out well. All-terrain vehicle house. American. The man asked. I shook my head. It seems that he met the French. I'm not good at French. Fine. If they know English. Russian. I answered. The man smiled. And pointed at my AK-15. He said something. But I didn't understand. What? More likely. Something like that. Why didn't I think of that right away? Say. What is my name? It wasn't difficult. I was understood. The man's name is Olivier. Like a salad. The second one. Sent to look for something unknown. His name is Guy. If I understood Olivier correctly. Guy knows English. And Russian languages. That would be good. On my own. Native. Glad to talk. Guy returned about 15 minutes later. Not alone. Following him. Tied by the hind legs. The beast drags itself along. Very similar to a hare. But the size of an earthly mongrel. Guy is dressed exactly the same. As his partner. A little shorter. But also physically strong. My age. Hardly older. Armed with a German HK-416 assault rifle. C'est un homme russe. Olivier exclaimed. Pointing at me. Yes, yes. I nodded, intuitively deciphering what was said. Russian man. Very nice. In broken language. But in quite normal Russian, said Guy. And extended his palm. I'm Guy. And you? Nikita. I introduced myself and shook his hand. New here? Guy asked. I nodded. And asked. How did you find out? The newbies have it all written on their faces. Guy answered. And pointed to the prey. Which he dragged along. Who has been in this world for a long time? They know. What does penicillin look like? Who? I was surprised. Penicillin. That's him. Guy nodded. This is a rare beast. Very rare. Conditionally predatory. It is not dangerous for people. It is called penicillin because of its extract. Which contain reproductive glands. Or whatever they call it correctly. In eggs. Briefly speaking. This extract is very useful. Specifically for humans. It helps against most inflammations. And from the bites of a certain number of poisonous reptiles. And them. Believe me. There's plenty of it here. It's turning out to be an interesting film. I muttered, looking at the little animal. Which is called penicillin. Olivier said something quickly. Guy nodded and looked at me. Asked. Are you in a hurry to go somewhere? No. I answered. Well then, come with us. We are in a hurry. Those same glands need to be treated within an hour. Otherwise they will disappear. We have a camp nearby. There is our third one. Philip. Are you coming? Let's go. I agreed the French didn't seem dangerous. Who knows? Maybe. I'm wrong. You need to be prepared for everything. Asterisk. The French set up a good camp. The tent alone is worth something. On a steel frame. 2.5 meters in height. 3 meters wide. And twice as long. This is a nice little house. Next. As it should be. There is an extinguished fire not far from the tent. And next to it there is a barbecue. There is a gasoline generator near the tent. And the table. The latter serves as a place for preparing lunch. So. And a cutting area. Philippe turned out to be an elderly Frenchman. He is about 60 years old. No less. Stocky. So imposing. With grey hair. And a tired, wise look. Olivier started talking to Philippe right away. Pointing at me with his hand. Kaylee is still asleep and apparently is not going to wake up. These tangerine cherries are a good sleeping pill. Or cherry tangerines. Forgot. What is the correct way? Looks like the first option. You don't mind if we call you Nick? Guy asked, pulling the loot out of the car. The full name is difficult for us. Not for me. And for them. He pointed his head at his comrades, energetically discussing something. I don't mind, I answered, continuing to explore the camp. Interesting. What's in the tent? Olivier and Philip finished the conversation and went their separate ways. Olivier climbed into Tatra's booth. Philip, greeting me with a wave of his hand, disappeared inside the tent. Guy threw the miracle beast onto the table and took up the knife, making an incision on the belly of an overgrown hare. Stuck his hand inside and started looking for something there. I winced. Digging around in the insides is quite a pleasure. What am I looking for? Inside. Guy explained. The price for this extract is not small. You can get 10 credits. If you're lucky. The problem is tracking the beast. It's hard to catch him. It's very difficult. Alone's local currency? I asked. Yes. Guy nodded, continuing to dig around in the belly of the overgrown hare. There are large settlements in this world. Not cities. Certainly. They are still a long way from the cities. So, villages. But for some reason many people consider them to be cities. Currency. Launched into circulation. Called loans. Without means of payment. You understand yourself. No way. I understand. Money is an irreplaceable thing. The ideal means of controlling the masses of people. Means. There are already those in this world who subjugated him. Introducing a means of payment is a serious undertaking. And what is local money backed by? I asked. In gold. Certainly. Guy smiled. There is plenty of gold in this world. How? And in ours. There are many others. No less precious things. Gold is a so-so security. I said. Well, I wouldn't say so. Guy shook his head. Most of everything. What is there in this world? From our world. Barter. He barters everywhere. There is no way without gold. And the money itself. I clarified, are they gold or like ours? Worthless pieces of paper. I'll show you. Guy promised. I'll just finish the job first. Apparently. Having found that. What is needed? Guy started pulling at it. Removing the vital organ from the beast's belly turned out to be no easy task. Philip came up and started helping. 10 seconds. And Guy tore 2 balls from the beast's belly. Vaguely resembling eggs. If we put it scientifically. Testicles. But this animal doesn't have them on the outside, but are securely hidden somewhere inside. An interesting feature. Philip placed the testicles in a plastic container and went back into the tent. This animal is valued not only from a medical point of view, said Guy, wiping his hands on a dirty rag. It tastes good too. It is considered a delicacy. Will you help me cut it up? I can do it completely on my own. I answered. I said it, do it. Guy grinned contentedly and handed me a knife. From the internal organs we take only the heart and liver, head, legs, skin, and the peritoneum is discarded. Get started. It took me about 20 to 25 minutes to cut it up. In terms of its internal structure, the enlarged version of the earth hare does not differ much from the original. However, I don't understand this well. Finished. Washed my hands from a tin wash basin. Attached to a block driven into the ground. Guy. Praising me for being quick. And a job well done. Using a knife, I divided the carcass into at least 10 approximately equal parts, which were immediately sent into a massive cauldron and were flooded with water. The result was about 12 to 15 kilograms of meat. You can't eat it all at once. Your girl sleeps soundly, it hurts, said Guy, lighting a fire under the cauldron. We drove at night. Or what? Were you driving? I shook my head. No. We slept at night. She ate her fill of berries. This cherry. What's her name again? Tangerine. It's clear. Guy laughed. After it, you always want to sleep. It's different for everyone. 1 berry is enough for me to pass out for about 8 hours. Philip can eat a kilogram. And not in one eye. I decided to go to the car and bring your own camping chair. At the same time, I rummaged around in the trunk and had difficulty finding beer. Yes. I took 5 bottles of beer with me. Kaylee didn't wake up from my fussing. Let him sleep. I'll wake you up. When will dinner be ready? Beer. Guy's eyes widened. That's it. I smiled and handed him a half-liter bottle of Baltica No. 7. From Russia. The Frenchman clarified. From her. I nodded, so beer. Certainly. Guy opened the bottle and greedily sucked on her. Apparently. There's a shortage of beer in this world. You would know. How I miss beer. Guy exclaimed. I haven't drunk it for 5 years. They don't make beer here. Strong alcohol, yes. All kinds of wines. Tinctures. No beer. A salad came out of the tent. Olivier. More precisely. Standing rooted to the spot. He stared at his comrade in surprise. And quickly said something in French. You're screwed. Guy exclaimed. And emptied the bottle in a few gulps. Burping loudly. Made such an expression. As if I had won a multi-million-dollar jackpot. Olivier's face changed. And began to puff. Like an overloaded diesel engine. It's clear from the intonation. Which offends Guy. I chuckled quietly. Olivier looked at me. And asked something. He asks. Do you have a couple more bottles? Guy translated. I nodded. Olivier blossomed. And lit up. Like a coltsfoot flower. He said something again. Speaks. Which will give you some extract from the beast we caught. Guy translated again. I smiled. And nodded. It's good enough. Men. It wasn't hard to go to the car for 2 more bottles of beer. Olivier. Having received them. In anticipation of bliss, he hid in the tent. Think. That he would treat Philip. How many years did you live in Russia? Guy. I asked. How did you guess? He was surprised. I assumed. You speak Russian quite well. Which means it definitely couldn't have happened without a stay in Russia. I lived in Russia for a couple of years. Worked in security. In that region. Where it is always cold. In the north. We pump your oil. Who hasn't pumped our oil? I muttered. And what about you? Guy asked. I can tell by looking at you. Which is not so simple. Who will you be? Nick. Let's have you tell me first. And then me, I suggested, judging by that. How are things going? People rarely end up in this world of their own free will. I was told. That most of the local population are lost. I see. That not everything is so bad. You are welcome here. By chance. Wasn't it the Bright Future organization that forwarded it? She is the one. Guy nodded. We were not criminals in that world. But there was still little chance of survival. Sinful. There's nothing to hide. You. Think. Also not without sin. There is such a thing. I nodded. Fire. Quite a blaze under the cauldron. Almost brought the water to a boil. Guy took a tin can. And he generously poured some ground mixture into the brew. It smelled of spices. There were 5 of us. Guy began to tell. I am Philip. Olivier. Andrian. And Jeremy. In that world we were soldiers. Mercenaries. This will be more accurate. In Russia. By the way. I was there before. How I became a mercenary. Almost 5 years ago we got into trouble. A tough predicament. In which many good guys died. We went in the wrong direction. Where it needs to be. Into the drug business. Africa. I clarified, or Latin America. They worked for the Americans. Guy answered. It happened in Mexico. Drug cartels are a dangerous phenomenon. Were you blacklisted by drug cartels? Exactly. Nick. Guy sighed heavily. Essentially. The Americans set us up. But it was impossible to prove anything. They set me up. And leaked. We decided. That we need to get out of America. Hid. And not just anywhere. And in Bulgaria. On the Black Sea coast. There we are. And got it. More precisely. Jeremy was the first to get it. Someone cut off his head right in the toilet. The body was lying near the toilet. And the head is in the toilet itself. Harsh. I shuddered, imagining the picture. After that, the bright future came to us. Guy continued. Nothing complicated. We had enough money for everyone. Running here is the only way out. They would have finished us all off there. The modern world. There are cameras everywhere. You can't hide. Adrian died in this world. The saber-tooth was bitten. Such a cat. Similar to that one. That became extinct on Earth in its time. Dangerous creature. Have you become hunters? I asked. Yes. Nick. Now we are professional hunters. I'm sick of shooting at people. Honestly. But still, it has to be done quite often. This world. How are you? And said. Finished people inhabit it. If you meet someone like that, kill him. You are lucky. Because he met us. A third of new recruits consistently die. There are plenty of people who love easy money. Now it's your turn to tell. Nick. A similar situation. Guy. I said quietly, problems. The impossibility of solving them. And escape here. I don't want to go into detail. It makes me sick to remember. If you don't want to, don't tell. Guy agreed. The water boiled. Guy said. That the meat will cook for about an hour. And went into the tent. Leaving me alone. He returned about 10 minutes later. And brought 2 plastic ampoules. Filled with something transparent. handing 'em over to me. Explained. Medicine. If there is inflammation, take it. If some poisonous creature bites you, take it too. Not a fact. What will help? But there will be a chance to survive. 1 ampoule for 1 use. There is no point in drinking 2. The body absorbs so many substances. As much as needed. 1 ampoule is calculated for 120 kilograms of weight. Tem. Who is lighter? Divide in half. Got it all. I nodded. Here you go. And glorious. Guy smiled. And sat down on his chair. Adding wood to the fire. Asked. Where did your portal open? If it's not a secret. It's no secret. I answered, a portal opened in the cave. Right before a huge gap into the unknown. Lucky. So to speak. Another meter would be enough. And lie dead in an unknown place. Either in the water. Either on stones. Portals love to present surprises. Guy nodded. Hour. I remember it as if it were yesterday. Opened high in the mountains. Unimog. Which cost a lot of money. So. And stayed there. Can't take it away. You're out of luck. I said, the Unimog is a good car. I am quite familiar with the Mercedes-Benz Unimog truck. I saw them in Syria. Where else? But there was mostly old stuff there. What do the new ones look like? I looked it up on the internet. An opportunity will arise. I would have bought one for myself. Tatra has already been purchased here. Guy said. She's not bad either. But a bit old. And excessively gluttonous. All in all. We are not complaining. How long are you staying here? I asked. We'll be here for another week. Guy answered. Maybe. 2. Looking at my Toyota. I saw. That Kaylee woke up. And looks around warily. He's afraid. I'll go calm him down. I said, nodding towards the car. My friend woke up. Go. Guy smiled. Kaylee. Seeing me. Stopped being afraid. And smiled. Having explained it to her. Where we are. And with whom. I hid the ampoules with the miracle drug in the glove compartment. And took the Irish woman to meet the French. No problem. Except for linguistic ones. After about 40 minutes the meat was ready. And served to the table. Which I and Kaylee helped serve. I brewed tea from my own supplies. And the French praised him. We. In turn. Praised the meat. Turned out to be soft. And delicious. Very similar to rabbit meat. But fatter. While we were having lunch. Learned a lot of new things. The most important thing. The nearest settlement is 120 kilometers away. Just over 1,000 people live in it. And the name of the settlement is Sachsenhausen. If in German. Then Sachsenhausen. I am strong in history. And I know. That was the name of a Nazi concentration camp. Located in the city of Oranienburg, Germany. The settlement is quite old. Has been in existence for almost 50 years. The first settler. Which. And gave the name to the settlement. Was German. More precisely. Fascist. Miraculously escaping justice into this world. Back then it was still completely uninhabited by people. The fascist stopped being afraid of the past. In our world, this fascist was one of the main figures in that very Sachsenhausen concentration camp. In this world he tried to propagate Hitler's teachings. And even succeeded in it. This did not last long. There were some aggressive Russians. Who learned of the existence of the fascist. And quickly sent him to another world. Into a truly different one. And not in this one. I wouldn't be surprised. That an organization was involved in the murder. Who sent me here? The fascist is gone. But the name remained. The past of the previous world inexorably breaks into this one. Someday it will be like this here. How? And on Earth. The village of Sachsenhausen is located near a small river called Isvilister at the foot of 2 fairly large hills. The village's main income comes from fishing. And agriculture. It's simple. The population is diverse. But mostly European. There are Russians. But there are few of them. No more than 3 dozen. Approximately. Certainly. Regarding money or loans. As Guy said. They have 3 versions. The first one is in electronic form. But not as a means of payment. And as an account in the unified bank. The second version is copper coins. Denominations from 1 credit to 10. The third version is on paper. Starts from hundreds of credits. And it comes down to a bill of 100,000 credits. I had the opportunity to see a 1,000 credit note. And found it very similar to the American dollar. It brings to mind certain thoughts. Guy himself. And his comrades live elsewhere. Which is almost 300 kilometers away. That place is called the City of Light. The population is almost 7,000. There is a developing industry. There is a branch of the United Bank. And the like. Nice little town. Judging by the stories. Worth a visit. Thanking the French for their warm welcome. We continued on our way. I definitely won't pass by the village of Sachsenhausen. The river won't allow it. Yes. And it can be seen from afar. Asterisk. We were not destined to reach the village without incident. I felt something was wrong. When the field finally ended, turning into a moderately hilly area, overgrown with sparse patches of bushes. If visibility in the field was good, now it has fallen to a minimum. Situated in the lowlands, you see almost nothing. And the bushes can serve as an excellent place for an ambush. Trying to stay on high ground, I slowed down to 20 kilometers per hour. My soul feels uneasy. Something will happen. Something is bound to happen. Are you nervous? Kaylee asked quietly. Yes. I nodded, continuing to drum my fingers on the steering wheel. I imagine an ambush. Or maybe it's just a figment of my imagination. Restless. All in all. How is that? The Irishwoman was surprised. Something like that. I answered, not knowing how to explain anxiety. It seems that it's time to start teaching the girl Russian. In the end, I decided to stop and wait. I chose this place so that there are bushes on both sides. Camouflaged. Briefly speaking. With great difficulty I managed to disguise myself. Handing Kaylee the gun. Asked. Do you know how to use it? She nodded. Hope. That doesn't lie. Hope. That the younger Hardman. Which George? I at least taught my friend the basics of firearms use. This will need to be addressed. Kaylee. At least. And the girl. But it can be quite helpful. If you teach her to shoot. I will be taking up intensive training in the near future. Why am I so nervous? Leaving Kaylee sitting in the car. I am armed with an AK-15. Decided to go on reconnaissance. At least for that. To calm the nerves. Maybe. That I'm just winding myself up. And there is no danger. Anything is possible. I walked down the hill. And walked along the strip of bushes growing there. Carefully examining the area. I walked for about 10 minutes. No less. I covered exactly half a kilometer. Another half kilometer remained behind. I'm standing on a high hill. And I see the surrounding area as if it were in the palm of my hand. The car. And direction. From which he came. I don't see. This is good. What is it that makes me nervous? Contacting Kaylee via radio. Convinced her. That everything is fine. And there is no need to panic. He also said. That I have some suspicions about an ambush. And I'm forced to check one place. Let him sit. Will get nervous. To understand bandits. Engaged in robbery of new arrivals. You need to think. Like bandits. I'll try. A high position is suitable for an ambush. The closest one. The hill is 1.5 kilometers ahead. What's good about it? At least that. That the area can be seen no worse from it. Than from that. Which I am currently on. He is good. And so on. That there are bushes growing on the top. They're so dense. Capable of providing shelter to an armed group. So. And an SUV. If I were a bandit. Then I would have chosen this very hill for an ambush. But this raises new questions. And the first. Why would bandits be here? The places here are not lively. If only there was a road. That's a different matter. But there is no road. And that means. And there are no bandits. Two personalities began to fight within me. The first one demands to calm down. Return to the car. And continue the trip as if nothing had happened. Second. Panic-prone personality. Speaks. That life is a temporary thing. And can break at any moment. She also says. That any panic appears for a reason. It's a sixth sense thing. Briefly speaking. A cunning, alarmist personality. And what kind? The question arises. Believe. Sober reason prevailed. The panic-mongering personality has won. Sometimes I'm paranoid. I'm walking towards the suspicious hill. There is no more than 1 kilometer left to the summit. And 300 meters. I had a friend who was a sniper. I wouldn't call him a comrade. Because that meeting was short. Then the service divided. So here it is. That sniper told. That for a good shooter, a distance of 1 kilometer to a target is a piece of cake. Shooting at a distance of 1.5 kilometers. And more, it's already more complicated. The wind correction alone is worth something. If the bandits have a sniper. And he sits on top of the hill. Then a kilometer is my possible maximum. Good snipers don't become bandits. A good sniper makes a living from other people. Becomes a killer. Mercenary. Security guard. By anyone. But not a bandit. Means. If the bandits have a sniper, there is hope. That he doesn't shoot very well. Having reduced the distance to the top of the hill to about a kilometer. I stopped. And took out a monocular. The sniper makes his first shot from a cold barrel. It's hard to hit the target with the first shot. The sun is shining on my back. And that's a plus. And still scary. The sound of the shot will come a moment after the bullet itself. And that means that there will be a hit first. And only then sound. I decided to act cunningly. For about 10 seconds I studied the hill through a monocular. And then took a sharp step back. And reached for the radio. Imitating fast speech. Turned around. And ran back. The bullet entered the dry ground about 7 meters ahead. And about 1.5 meters to the right. The sound of a gunshot then echoed through the area. So loud. Serious. They fired from a Dragunov rifle. But at such distances it will be weak. No matter what anyone says. And the Tokarev self-loading rifle lying in my SUV is not much worse than the SVD. At least. And older. A good Masinka is a real fairy tale. What have I achieved with my actions? Discovered a bandit or a group of bandits. Revealed myself. All. What should I do now? Get to the car as quickly as possible. If the enemy has no transport. But I doubt it. I'll run there. And I will give battle on more convenient terrain. At least climb higher. It's always more convenient to shoot from the mountain than up the mountain. 5 to 7 minutes of fast running. And I heard the roar of the engine. Turning around. I saw a brown UAZ Hunter rushing down the hill. Well, that's it. You've had enough running. Nikitos. The UAZ drives briskly. Bouncing on the bumps. He is old. Even from this distance it is visible. I have seen a lot in my short existence. Stopping. I turned around and dropped to one knee. Tried to calm down. Fine. That I didn't install a collimator sight. The standard rail of the Kalashnikov assault rifle now is what is needed. It's about 700 meters to the UAZ. I move the clamp of the sighting bar to the number 7. Take a deep breath. Machine gun to shoulder. Aiming. And a shot. Then another shot. And another shot. Ears. My poor ears. A bit loud. The bullets go off one after another. The sniper shot at me. Means. Did not withdraw from his position. His bullet missed by about 10 meters. And went significantly to the left. I'm too small a target. My bullets find their target. Not all. Certainly. But the UAZ windshield cracked. More precisely. His right half. And it's not Hunter. And the 469th. Its windshield is split in two. The sniper fired again. And this time more precisely. I continued shooting at the UAZ. Interesting duel. How close I am to death. About 3 meters ahead of me, a bullet raised a small cloud of dust. It became really scary. And I started running headlong. Without trying to get the UAZ. Let the distance be reduced to at least 400 meters. Then I'll try to remove the driver. The distance decreased faster than I expected. The sniper did not accept defeat. And continues shooting. It's unlikely to hit now. At such a distance and with such a number of shots, it was shooting at random. No more. For veterans of the couch potato army, everything comes easy. With an SVD, a distance of 1.5 kilometers is a piece of cake. In reality, it is more complicated. Too many factors. The breeze alone is worth it. Turning around. I moved the clamp on the AK-15 sighting bar to number 4. And started shooting at the UAZ. Now he's a bigger target. It's more pleasant to shoot. Bandit. Sitting in the front passenger seat. Finally took out the cracked glass. And started shooting back. Try it. I don't feel sorry for it. I know how difficult it is to aim from a moving car. Taking careful aim. I fired a burst of 3 bullets at the approaching car. The glass on the driver's side is cracked. The car immediately began to move significantly to the left. The driver is not long for this world. Good hit. Unfastening the store. I started running again. While moving, putting the empty one into the unloading area. And inserting a new one. I climbed to the top of that very hill. From which he had recently been looking for a place for a supposed ambush. And stopped. To catch my breath. My lungs are burning. And the muscles of the legs are filled with lead. It was a pretty good run up the hill. To the hill. On which the sniper sits. 1.5 kilometers. There are about 700 meters to the stopped UAZ. They don't shoot at me anymore. And that makes me happy. The UAZ driver can be clearly seen through the monocular. Standing sideways to me. Killed by a bullet to the head. The second bandit. Shooting from the passenger seat. Not visible. Where the sniper sits. I don't even imagine. What to do next. Don't know. Return to the car. And go around the bandits in an arc or finish them off. The first option is safer. The second one is closer to the soul. Not because of that. That I love to kill. No. I hate doing this. But I have to. Whatever you say. Obliged. The bandits must be killed. And that's it. I returned to the car at a light jog. Kaylee. While she was waiting for me, I managed to get tired. Fingers. Clutching a pistol. Turned white. Everything is fine, I said as convincingly as possible and with difficulty took the pistol. Put it on the panel. The Irishwoman continued to shake. He's about to burst into tears. I understand her. I should calm down myself. Everything is fine, I said again, don't be afraid. I need to step away for a little while longer. Kaylee nodded. And then shook her head vigorously. What? I smiled. I'm scared, the girl said with trembling lips. Me too. I nodded and looked around. It's safe here. Kaylee. Trust me. I'll be back soon. The gun remains with you. Just don't squeeze it. Otherwise your fingers will hurt a lot. Try to calm down. The Irishwoman made a vague promise. That he will try to calm down. I reached into the trunk for the SVT, which was lying in a special case. Greased. Sighted in. And ready to kill. I didn't think so. That I would pick up a sniper rifle so soon. About 15 minutes later I headed back to the hill. Terribly calm. And ready to execute bandits without hesitation. Do not kill. Namely, to execute. As I move forward, I study the surroundings using a monocular. Sure. That there are 3 bandits. Killed 1. There are 2 left. UAZ is like that. And stands still. Silence. A bird is flying high in the sky. Somewhat similar to an earthly hawk. But larger. 3 times larger. Eagle. The sun is still shining on my back. You can search for a position. I lay down in the bushes. If the bandit sniper is still in position, then he sees me. I don't have it. Interesting. Is the second one still near the UAZ? After watching the UAZ for about 5 minutes, decided to do a little shooting. The first bullet was sent into the area of the rear wing. Didn't hit the target. Took noticeably higher. And to the left. The distance is 700 meters. I should have bought a sniper rangefinder from Boris after all. And it wouldn't hurt to learn ballistics. And apply all this knowledge in practice. I wish I had a teacher. The second bullet blew out the driver's window. The third one pierced the bottom of the rear door. The fourth one entered where I planned, in the rear wing. The fifth shot was not needed. A man in dark green camouflage rushed away from the car and headed towards the hill in which the sniper was holed up. I didn't see a machine gun on the runner. Apparently. I was so scared that I forgot about him. Having fired 3 shots, I despaired of hitting a moving target. Even under that condition. That the target's speed has noticeably decreased. Gets tired of running. Coward. Gets too tired. The distance to the fugitive is just over a kilometer. Try to get it. I'll try. Taking careful aim. I smoothly pressed the trigger. The bullet went away. But again, it's not the same. No. I won't get it. What to do? We need to get back to the car. But first it's worth shooting out the UAZ's tires. Having done the job, I went back. I hate people engaged in banditry. Calmed Kaylee down. And told everything. What happened? The Irishwoman was able to regain her composure. And tried to dissuade me from going to meet the bandits. UAZ needs to be checked. There may be a weapon in it. And many useful things. I'm no longer afraid of the sniper on the hill. He doesn't know how to shoot. First we reached the hill. From which I shot. Having made sure that there is no danger. Went down to the UAZ. I parked the car like this. So that it would be at least partially covered from the sniper on the hill. My instinct tells me so. That neither his. There is no longer a cowardly fugitive on the hill. They either left or simply changed their position. And went into hiding. The machine gun was found near the rear wheel. Shooting in the wing. I assumed that the bandit will hide there. And I was not mistaken. My shots were quite annoying to him. Hit the wing from this side. The bullet passed right through the body. And punctured the rear tire. It was at this moment that the bandit decided not to tempt fate. And get out of here. About the machine gun. Old AKM. He forgot. Or left it on purpose. So as not to run with excess weight. You will never know the whole truth. The driver turned out to be a young guy. About 20 years. No more. He is wearing pants from the Gorka suit and a camouflage t-shirt. Slavic appearance. More likely. Russian. He killed his own. It turns out. There was no gasoline in the tank. It seems. That I punched him. When he fired at the UAZ with a machine gun. Of the useful items, AKMs were obtained. Makarov pistol. Belonged to the guy the first killed. And a pair of binoculars that have seen life. I'll get to the nearest populated area. And I will sell everything. He decided to burn the UAZ. To finally deprive the bandits of transport. Why did you set the car on fire? Asked Kaylee. As we continued on our way. Just like that. I answered and looked through the side mirror at the UAZ burning up. It won't burn too much. Too much iron. Adrenaline. Which there was too much of in the blood just recently. Ended. Weakness came. And drowsiness. It doesn't interfere with rest. We'll get to the settlement. And then you can relax. There is no time to relax now. You killed a man. Kaylee whispered. After the skirmish with the bandits, my Irish companion changed a lot. Either the shock hasn't worn off. Either the guy's corpse had a depressing effect on her. Don't know. Decided to keep silent. And pretend that I don't notice her. After about 10 minutes she calmed down. And fell silent. Chapter 5. About 20 kilometers later, mountains appeared on the horizon. Beautiful. High. And long.